Hello everybody, John Craig here with Performance Plus Tennis. Welcome to today's video where we're going to break down the serve of great rising star Jannik Sinner, who's making a big splash on the ATP Tour. And his serve is one of the reasons why he's having so much success. We're going to break down some of the key elements for you today and show you some of the key things you could add into your serve to improve your serving performance right away. So let's begin here on the left and take a look here right from the beginning here. Jannik comes up and he's got his routine where he bounces the ball and he shifts his weight forward, and he leans back a little bit more than some players do on tour, but he's working to get himself in a position where he can create rhythm. So when he starts to serve, you'll see he'll rock back, and that movement is really trying to create a flow of movement to get into the serve to make it natural how he does that. So if you're struggling with your serve and it feels unnatural, experiment with some different movement patterns to help you feel like you get into a good rhythm on your serve. Okay. Next up, you're going to see when he enters into his serve, he'll shift from the front foot to the back foot, and you'll see his back foot will come down here. Clearly his heel's in the air at this point, and you can see that it goes down, and he stays still right on the back leg and stays there. The whole time his tossing arm is rising through its different stages. You're going to see that the tossing arm rises and the heel stays down. That gives him stability, gives him control. Okay. That's going to help quite a bit. And I'm really an advocate of this leading with the left arm, and you can see he's really lagging with the playing arm, and that's just becoming more and more common amongst professional and high-performance players because it helps synchronize the serve so much better. Okay. So at this point in time, we can see his weight is still on the back foot. The ball is leaving at just approximately forehead level, which is typical and common. That's approximately where you want the ball to leave your hand. And you can also see that his eyes are actually looking there at the ball. Okay, his eyes are not up there. His eyes are waiting for the ball right there to get to that point where he can exit the ball from his hand. So his eyes are helping him really time the release of the ball and control that. Okay. Next up, he leads with the left arm upward, and that leads him into this beautiful angle trophy position. So the stretching of that left arm vertically helps lead him in, okay, to that beautiful trophy. So this is really his trophy position. Okay, this is about the position where he's going to make his move. And let's compare that to the image here on the right, or the video on the right. And you'll see when he's in this position, that we'll call it his trophy, right about here, his racket is still on the right side of his body. And that's really important. What I see so commonly amongst amateur players is this intention to put the racket behind the back. So it ends up being over here early, and it really doesn't need to be there at all. In fact, you can see that in the image here on the left that Jannik's racket is really on his right side, as it is here. And that's a very important feature. You don't really need to try to put the racket behind your head at all, because when you make the proper move, it'll go by itself. And we'll see that a little later in the video. When he's up in his trophy position, you can see that his back heel is risen now. His knees are got a nice flex in them. There's more flex in his back leg than in his front leg. And you can see that here. You can see it in both images here. That there's more flex in his back leg. And the reason is because his right hip is lower than his front hip, than his left hip. And so he's going to naturally have a little bit more knee bend. But his legs are sharing the weight fairly equally. And that would be a great place for you to be, is to have your weight nice and equal over both legs at this point in time. Okay? So here we go. We're going to go into the serve now. And this is, again, where things usually go awry with most players, is we get this sequencing wrong. And you'll see that the racket starts to fall when his body starts to rise. Look how his legs are pushing. Look how the leg is pushing here, the back leg in particular. He's pushing up. Initially right up, up. Both legs are pushing up, and the racket's falling. So there's going to be a really significant stretch factor when the racket gets to its racket drop. Okay, see that? So we're trying to get that action. Look where his shoulder is here. We're going to put a little mark there for you. His shoulder is there. And then look where it is when the racket drops. Look how much it's moved. So that leg drive is significant in lengthening the torso up and creating more length in the swing and really creating this racket drop. The racket drop is caused by the body moving, okay, not by him trying to put his racket down his back. Okay, look at great movement right there. Okay. And the other key element to this too, in addition to the leg drive, that most amateurs get wrong is the timing with the left arm. Watch how the legs push and the left arm pulls away. And look how when the racket gets to the bottom, how the left hand and the racket are really close in their position. So, oftentimes we hear coaches say, keep the tossing arm up, keep it up. That's really not true. You get the tossing arm stretched so you can pull it away and have this catapulting effect, shoulder over shoulder effect that really is, driven by the leg drive and that left arm pulling away to get those shoulders rotating over. So when he's making contact now, you can see how much his left shoulder has dropped out and his right shoulder has risen. Look at that. Look at that angle. And if we reverse it, look at that shoulder over shoulder action he gets. Beautiful. So he goes from this angle. We'll clean this up a little bit. He goes from this angle all the way up and over to this angle again. It's almost a complete reversal of his shoulder positions. Beautiful. And then at contact, he's got a nice, comfortable extension. He's coming up here, a slice serve here. You can see how the racket's rising up on edge. It's beautiful. It's coming up on edge as it's attacking the ball. And then he squares up on it, and he turns it over. And you can see the pronation here. The strings are starting to turn over and face the camera. Looks beautiful. And you can see here is another key thing for you, too. To get that long axis pronation, when you're coming up and extending here, try to keep your elbow up and let the forearm turn over and bend. So at this stage, you can see that the hand is actually lower than the elbow. And that's usually where most amateurs get that swing wrong. They don't understand the mechanics of it. So what happens from here is the racket and the arm just go together. Let me clean that up. The racket and the arm just kind of go together all the way down. But in reality, what you want to get is you want to get that racket to turn over and advance past the arm. That's where your acceleration occurs. So that's a magical piece to really getting racket head speed, is the technique of the swing. Okay? So big takeaways here. Let's go back to the beginning. Make sure you have a nice start to your serve. Creates rhythm. Rock back. Lead to the left hand. Place the ball up. Get into a balanced position where you're not worried about the racket getting behind your head. Look at it. It's right there. Okay? And one other thing we could talk about is look at the height of his toss. Now, his toss is not as high as some players, and it's a little higher than others. Let's see how much it really drops. There you go. Okay? So I would say, I'm going to go back up again. We can measure this up. There's the peak of his toss. And let's play contact here. There's his contact. So we'll draw another line on contact. So that's the length, the distance there. And now compare that to the racket, because the racket's 27 inches. So my estimate is the ball's dropping about 20 inches into contact. So my theory is you need to get the ball above contact. It's much easier to swing up into a ball that's descending slightly than a ball that's just sitting at the apex. Plus you need the time to get into this position and come out of this position with a full range of motion and then extend to contact. So that's a key element right there, is the height of the ball as well. I would err on the side of getting the ball up and rather than trying to hit it at the apex. You'll see that most players are doing that. Okay? So back again. Great start. Lead to the left hand. Place the ball up. Get into a good balance. Keep the racket on the right side and try to get the sequencing with the leg drive and the left arm to allow that racket to fall and rise by itself. There's that action. Look at that beautiful action. Okay? Takes a lot of practice to get it, but you can do it. If you know what you're trying to do, get the right information, right training, you put the time in, you too can develop a beautiful serve. So thanks so much for watching today's video. Leave your comments down below. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Give us a like, and stay tuned. We've got a lot more coming here at Performance Plus Tennis, and we look forward to seeing you in a future video. Thanks so much.